Hello and welcome to Headliners, your first look at tomorrow's top stories with three comedians. I'm joined tonight by Bruce Devlin and Leo Kearse. How are we, gentlemen?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks.
Yeah.
Feel very...
You're looking quite North Korean in that outfit.
Do you think?
You got the, yeah.
I'm going to assume you mean very, very thin. OK, before we move on, let's have a look at Tuesday's front pages. We're starting with the Daily Mail. Welby must quit after failing to act on abuse, says Bishop. The Daily Telegraph leads with pressure mounts on Welby to resign. The Eye has water bills must rise to tackle illegal sewage spills, Minister tells UK public. And The Independent has Bishop joins call for Welby to quit over abuse scandal. The Metro has time to go, Archbishop. And finally, the Daily Star has the referees a silly sausage. And those are your front pages. OK, let's have a closer look at those, starting with the Daily Mail, please, Leo.
Yeah, so things aren't looking good for Justin Welby, who's the Archbishop of Canterbury, which makes him the head of the Church of England, I believe. So it says Welby must quit after failing to act on abuse, says Bishop. So this is a senior bishop in the Church of England who's called for him to resign. This is Bishop of Newcastle, Helen Ann Hartley, who's described Justin Welby's position as untenable and claimed the church was in danger of losing complete credibility just before Christmas as well. So this is following a damning report into a barrister who's thought to have been the most prolific serial abuser to be associated with the church. This is child sexual abuse. Basically, he's dead now. This guy called John Smythe, or Smith, thought to have abused as many as 130 boys and young men in the UK and in Africa because they sort of moved him around. It's the classic sort of way of dealing with the issue by pretending it doesn't exist, not addressing it, and then just moving the offender to somewhere he can offend, with people who haven't accused him yet.
It's staggering, isn't it? The naivety, the idea that this guy would have stopped when you moved him. And I have to say, I've got absolutely no sympathy with this whatsoever. And Welby's talking about the fact that he personally failed to ensure it was energetically investigated.
Yeah.
There's no other way to deal with child abuse, is there? There's no mild, in my opinion. Say your own ideas.
No, I completely agree with you.
There's no middle ground.
What I do think is appalling is the guy is dead and can't face any, reparations or legal action, that kind of thing. So to have done that, it's a bit like, really? How do you sleep at night? And you should go.
And never mind an energetic investigation. I'd settle for just a half-hearted, lazy investigation, just something rather than ignoring the issue and letting it continue.
Well, exactly. To have heard any of it and not done a thing, rotten hell.
Yeah, and also this isn't the first child sex abuse case that Justin Welby has been associated with. So when he was Dean of Liverpool, there was somebody called Canon John Roberts who ended up being jailed for his abuse. And Justin Welby, when he was the Dean of Liverpool, took the side of the abuser and banned the accuser, one of the victims from the cathedral, which is just, that's insane.
So I think there's no balance on this. It's time for him to go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Justin Welby. OK, let's move on and have a look at The Sun, please, Bruce.
The Sun. Now, this is Gary Lineker is going to be leaving Match of the Day, which is a programme I love. I'm always home for that and sports scene. So he's going to quit the World Cup. I don't know what's happening with his crisps. I don't know if he's still going to be eating his crisps, because I think that's where he makes most of his money, that and podcasts in America.
Yeah.
But you don't like him, do you?
I don't.
No.
I think a lot of people have got this sort of, visceral, instinctual hate of Gary Lineker. I'm here to just reassure you that you're completely correct. Even if you don't know the full details, he's a terrible man. He was taken to court by HMRC for nearly £5 million of unpaid tax, and he wangled out of it. One of the reasons he got off the hook for that was he said that his tweets, his nauseating virtue signalling tweets, were proof that he wasn't a regular employee of the BBC. He was this sort of political firebrand who just does BBC stuff on the side. So he didn't need to be treated as an employee. He's more of a political activist.
Well, this is it, isn't it? And finally, we'll be able to find out what he really thinks about the major issues of the day once he leaves the BBC, and he can really let rip and let us know what he thinks about things. So I'm looking forward to that. OK, let's have a look at The Times, please, Leo.
So The Times has, they've got the Archbishop story as well. They got a picture of Macron and Keir Starmer driving around in a sort of big 1940s style armoured car. They've seen the success of Trump, and they're trying a bit of that sort of look as well. But yeah, this is the other story here is the daily pill on the NHS, which will help thousands give up smoking. It's called heroin. You take 20 of them a day, and you don't need any cigarettes anymore, but you do vomit on yourself. No, it's called varenicline. Apparently it blocks cravings. And we're seeing a lot of pills like this. Like Ozempic blocks the cravings for Mars bars. This one blocks the cravings. But basically, we've got a lot of cravings as a nation, it seems. We crave a lot of things.
Modern medicine, now you don't have to be your own gender. You don't have to want the things you want. Yeah. Soon we can all just be a robot. It's brilliant.
Yeah, but it might counteract the Ozempic craze because smoking keeps you thin.
Well, smoking is an appetite suppressant.
Yeah. So
as you can see, I don't smoke. What was I going to say? Are they in a Bradley?
I smoke bacon.
Do you? I ate raw bacon once just to see.
I ate raw sausages once. It was my first week at this job for the police. And I was in the office eating... I thought they were... You know how you get, like, ethnic sausages and they're cooked? I said, these sausages are very wet. And they looked at the packet and you're like, you're eating raw sausages, Leo.
Oh, well, you've survived. You know, you're in good shape, so maybe there's something in it.
I found out the truth behind the conspiracy theory. You don't need to cook sausages.
No.
Were you well afterwards?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Extraordinary. Well... Yeah. Amazing. So that's the answer, is it? Daily pill on the NHS will help thousands give up smoking.
Yeah. And raw sausages will give you long life. Okay. And glowing skin.
There have been previous pills. There's existing pills. Is it Buprion or something? It blocks. I think it's used as an antidepressant and stuff, but it also is used to help people quit smoking. I don't know if you just get happier so you don't need a cigarette. So
we won't make tax on the cigarettes anymore, but we'll make loads of money for the government through more drugs. So
do you know anyone that still smokes? Because I only know two people that smoke.
Carrie smokes.
Right, yeah.
There you go.
Jojo and my friend Wayne.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
There you go. Let's move on to The Guardian, please, Bruce.
Now, is this assisted dying?
Well, it's your front page.
OK.
Anything you like with it. We can talk about Justin Welby's outfit, if you like.
No, I don't want to talk about Justin Welby.
You can only move diagonally.
Really?
Yeah, look at his hat.
Oh, what is he, a crook?
He's
a pawn.
He's
a shyster. He's a bad man and he needs to go.
He's a bishop.
That's what he is. Sorry, I'm really tired. So, yes, this focuses on the assisted dying bill. Now, all joking aside, I am quite passionate about this and I do think it's something that we should bring in. My father was in a really bad way through stroke and that was a hellish thing to watch, 4.5 years.
Yeah.
But because he wasn't of sound mind due to vascular dementia, he wouldn't be eligible for this. You have to be of sound mind. So I know that a lot of people against it. I don't understand why people go, oh, it's God's journey and all that kind of thing, because you're like, really? Why are they in nappies then? In the case of my father, you know, he had no dignity, care home until the end. It was awful to watch, genuinely, really awful to watch. So I think it's interesting because I think we need to have a pragmatic and sensible debate about it.
Well, but this is about this Labour MP, Kim Ledbetter, claiming that she's put on rock-solid guardrails, nothing could ever go wrong, this is going to be really watertight. Leo, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, but it's a Labour MP. You know, like after 2 weeks, they're going to be executing for people for being right-wing. I mean, this is... look what happened in Canada. I mean, I appreciate that, you know, I mean, my mother's getting on a bit, and I want to inherit a house, and, you you know, it's my only chance of...
How old is
property.
She's
older than me.
This is on the telly.
She's 80. No, she's doing great. She's going to go for probably another 30 years. But yeah, we saw in Canada, they brought through this assisted dying bill. They've also got a left-wing government, and they said, oh, it'll just be used for, you know, people who really need it, you know, they're in pain at the end of their lives and stuff. And within a matter of months, it's being used for young people. It's being offered to homeless people. It's being offered to people who are in debt. Liberals that are fleeing to Canada because they don't like Donald Trump are being offered this assisted suicide. There was even like a 21-year-old boy he had diabetes and he was blind in one eye. So I mean, he had a couple of health issues and he was depressed, but nothing that, you know, couldn't be fixed. And his mother just accidentally found out that he'd been selected for assisted dying, and, you know, put her foot down and said, no, you're not going to kill yourself.
I accidentally found out, like a lottery win.
Opened a letter opened a letter that was sent to him.
It was his medical
Oh,
business.
wow.
Why would
The doctors
she have
are
access
just,
to
you know,
it?
in Canada, the doctors are just throwing people into these assisted dying things because, you know, they want to bring down the state's budget. And it's absolutely disgusting. Also, they've got incredibly high immigration, so they know they don't need the people. They can just bring in more people.
That's not actually their official policy, is it? We're trying to bring down the...
I mean, it's never the official policy, but I mean, as soon as these things...
Are you against it in principle?
In principle, man, lots of things sound great in principle, but in reality, it's going to be some left-wing apparatchik sending you to a gulag to die.
Excellent. Can we move on to the Telegraph now, please, Leo?
So the Telegraph has a picture of Gary Lineker looking quite serious there.
He does, doesn't he? He looks pretty good in a suit. I'm not a Gary Lineker fan, but he's gone a bit Matt Goodwin there.
Yeah, maybe that's his plan. He's very rich from all his podcast stuff. He's very smart guy, very good businessman, just incredibly annoying. And a total virtue signal. But yeah, this is the VAT raid driving out over 3,000 private pupils. So Labour, they don't want anybody to be able to aspire to a better life by sending their children to private school to get an education where they're not convinced to be transgender. Although they actually do that in private school. I've got mates with kids at private school and they do that more, you know what I mean? Oh God, rich people are the worst for trying to trans their kids. But the VAT raid, the VAT raid, is supposed to raise money for the government. But what it's done, because people can't pay the extra 20% tax on top of their child's education fees. And bear in mind, these people have already paid for a place in the state school sector, and then they're paying extra on top, and then they're paying tax on top of that. So they're having to take their kids out of the private school and put them in state school. So instead of saving the state money, it's costing the state money because now the state has to spend thousands and thousands to educate those kids.
Your friend Emily Thornberry, of course, said some time ago that it didn't matter if there was a few extra kids in the state system because large class sizes were OK.
Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with her on everything, and I think she does enjoy a drink. So maybe she was a wee bit worse for wear when she came out with that.
She's not here to reply to that, so who knows?
Okay.
Let's have a quick look at the Daily Star, please, Bruce.
Now, I hate to say it, I don't think I can help you on this because no one's actually given me the text and I can't read the story and I'm annoyed because it's something about a sausage.
Well, it's the Daily Star. You can treat it as a picture book.
OK, that's fine. It's like Heat magazine. So Prem League whistler axed over Klopp slur. Now, I don't know what Klopp is. I know what a slur is.
Klopp is a person.
Klopp is a person.
Name.
OK, the referee's a silly sausage. I thought Klopp was a brand of sausage. No, I did.
It's a type of person who's been...
You cook it.
I don't know. Because you don't.
Well,
So can we just go back to the sausages? Where did you get them?
I got them from, it was in Wood Green, and I think it was in the Morrisons in Wood Green, but I can't be totally sure.
And they were in a packet?
They were in a packet, yeah. They weren't just like loose sausages. They can't put
No,
loose
but
sausages on the
what I
shelf.
don't understand is why you didn't think to cook them.
Or
you know, were they meant to be pre-cooked with the light
pepperoni?
pepperoni?
Nice, deli counter, you get a nice cabanos.
Right, OK,
and
I'm
it's
with
already,
you. I understand.
already cooked.
Yeah.
Excellent. OK, we've all learned something there. So, Express next. And how it started, how it's going update on smashing the gangs, Leo. How is it going?
So this is Sir Keir Starmer is failing abysmally to prevent channel crossings and must reinstate the Rwanda deportation scheme. The Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has declared, and I think Boris Johnson has weighed in on this issue as well. Of course, the Rwanda scheme was the first thing that Keir Starmer scrapped when he got in, and the number of migrants crossing the channel has doubled under Labour. So you thought it was bad? It's somehow, although Keir said, I'm going to totally deal with it. Oh, I know how to deal with it. I can't tell you now, but when I'm in power, I'm totally going to deal with it. No, he hasn't dealt with it at all. So there are fears that the total crossing this year could hit 40,000. So nearly 20,000 have crossed since Sir Keir Starmer became Prime Minister, an average of 150 a day. That's twice as much as the 74 per day before he was Prime Minister. And even the EU is now looking at offshore processing, which is what the Rwanda deal actually was. But the thing is, Labour won't implement any offshore processing. They won't do anything to reduce the number of asylum seekers. I mean, I say asylum seekers, they're illegal immigrants coming across the channel, abusing the asylum system, because they want them. Angela Rayner has announced Operation Scatter. She's going to move these asylum seekers who, once they're naturalised and have their voting ID and everything, will be voting Labour. She's going to move them around the country so they're in Labour, so they're in Tory seats. So she's going to tilt the electoral landscape and ensure that the margins get squeezed on the Tories and Labour get more seats. It's exactly what Kamala was trying to do. Airdropping Haitians into towns in Pennsylvania and Ohio.
Yeah, well, wow, how bleak. The one thing they have done is made the conditions on these boats worse. That might put a few people off. Now looking at more people crammed into tiny boats. It's hideous, isn't it?
It's awful. Did anyone actually go to Rwanda? Did they send anyone to the Conservative government? Did they send anyone?
I think they sent some people voluntarily.
It didn't. It wasn't.
But it never kind of took off.
It wasn't used as the deterrent it could have been.
No.
And as we've said many times on the show, people would often say you couldn't send them all to Rwanda. No, of course you couldn't. That's the point, isn't it? You begin to start sending people.
Well, you can't send them to Arbroath. People won't tolerate it.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I mean, people say, "Oh, there's no way anybody could be sent back or whatever." And I said, "Well, how did they get here? If it's impossible for people to cross the channel in that direction, how is it possible for them to cross in this direction?" Surely people. I went to Greece this summer. It was easy.
Did you go on a plane?
I went on a plane.
But France are able to keep people out, aren't they? They seem to be doing a good job. And, well, they do, don't they?
Well, they're not doing any worse than Starmer. UK local authorities starting a